The jury duty scam. How many of you love jury duty? Very few of you. And I understand why, okay? You gotta sit down there for 8 hours, and you gotta count the ceiling tiles or something like that, right? And then when they get down to the end of the day, after you sat there for 8 hours, they go, hey, thanks for coming in. If we need you, we'll call you tomorrow. And you're like, that's 8 hours I'm never gonna get back. You're absolutely correct. But yeah, you do, and some people do, don't get me wrong. But jury duty is our civic duty, we have to do it, right? And we live in Ventura County courts are gonna get a hold of us and say, hey, we need you for jury duty, you have to do it, etc., etc. But I will tell you this, I've never arrested somebody for not showing up at jury duty. 23 years in law enforcement, I've never knocked on somebody's door and go, hey, by the way, you missed jury duty, I'm here to arrest you. It doesn't happen like that, okay? But what was happening for a short time is that there was an 805 number that was coming up on people's phones. So 805 indicates what? It's a local phone number, correct? Don't be mistaken by it just being a local phone number, okay? Because this guy, and I'm going to play a soundbite for you in just a moment, but he was pretty good what he did. He said that, hey, you missed jury duty, but we can take care of this. Just go ahead and pay the bail, and then we'll just call it even. You won't have to go to jury duty, okay? And they'll even pretend like the guy on the phone's the judge, okay? And it's pretty funny. But I will tell you this also, just like I told you the IRS scam, our judges in Ventura County don't accept gift cards, so don't try it, right? You can't pay them off, that's bribery. So, but the jury duty scam, that's still going around because people actually believe, well, hey, I might have missed jury duty. I mean, my mail could have been stolen, it could have been misplaced, or whatever the case is. But it happens. It happens to people. But I'm going to play this one. This is an actual scammer calling somebody. And I'm going to explain more after this soundbite.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sony. This is Lieutenant Charles Whitman, Ventura County Sheriff's Department. Trying to get in touch with you as soon as possible in regards to a failed jury duty appointment. So if you could reach me at my office at 805-258-7065. At your earliest convenience, it would certainly be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. So I want to explain something about this person. Number one, he said lieutenants. We haven't had lieutenants in the Ventura County Sheriff's Office in over 15 years. Okay, so that was the first mistake he made. Some people may not know that, though. The second thing is, it sounded like he forgot his phone number, didn't he? He's like, let me find out which one I'm using this time. So it's funny because what happened was the residents in Ventura County were actually receiving this call from this guy, and it was an 805 area code, just like the one he just gave. So I put out a press release letting the residents of Ventura County know, hey, if you receive a phone number or a phone call from this phone number, it's a scam. What did he do? He shut down that phone number and opened a new one. It's very easy to do. You've heard of Google Voice, maybe. You've heard of Magic Jack. We've heard of even spoofing phone numbers. It's very easy for me to get phone numbers every second of every minute of every day. And I can change my phone number as much as I want, and I can make them all 805 area codes. It's that simple. As a matter of fact, I can call any of you in this room from this gentleman's cell phone. And if you know this man and his phone number's in your cell phone, you're going to think he's calling you, but it's really me. Spoofing a phone number. Thank you, technology. It's made it so much easier for these scammers to take money from us and fool us. But that's exactly what they'll do. So you're going to go, hey, how you doing? And you're going to go, hey, give me your personal information, your credit card numbers. So again, spoofing a phone number, if you want more information about that, look it up on the internet. There's a lot of information on it. As a matter of fact, on my computer here, I was playing with it at home. I actually got this program, and what I did is I put in my phone, and I put somebody else's phone number in, and I called somebody else's phone, and they thought it was this other person calling. Because I wanted to see if it worked. And it worked great. Because it came up on a I didn't take nobody's money, though, okay? Anyway, so, but it does work. The grandparent scam, how many of you heard of that one? Yeah, this one's still going strong. Had a lady lose $20,000 on this one. That's just one. I've had several. Because what ends up happening is they get a call, and actually, let me explain it right after this.
I'm your grandson's eligible mate. We're on spring break together in Jamaica, and he's been in an accident. His jaw's wired shut. surgery. You told me to ask you for it. You wouldn't fall for it here. So don't fall for it here. Think before you send money.
Did you see the look on her face as she's on the phone? Again, that's just to give you a realistic picture, right? If this guy was sitting in front of you, you'd go, who is this creep? Get him out of here. I've never seen this guy before, right? But, again, over the phone, we can't see him. So the grandparent scam, what they do is they call you on the phone. They say they have your grandson, granddaughter. They have them. They've been arrested. They'll even have a scammer get on the phone and say he's the judge. And then he'll say, well, I'm going to pass the phone to the lawyer. And then another guy gets on the phone, and he pretends like he's the lawyer, and he's trying to make it sound like he's going to do some work for you and get your grandson out of jail. They'll even go to the extent to say, please don't tell anybody. Right? Because some of us like to protect our grandkids, right? We don't want to tell their parents really what they're doing. So basically what ends up happening is they will keep you on the phone. Same thing as the ransom scam. So I always get this question. They go, hey, Tim, well, how do they know who my grandkids are? Social media. People post way too much information in it. Now, you might be looking at me going, well, I don't have a Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or any of those other fancy-looking things out there. I don't have that. But your grandkids do, and they list you as their grandparents, right? What I want you to do is this, I want you to go home today, and I want you to put your name into Google and see how much information about you is out there. Because believe me, if I was doing my identity theft presentation right now, I would pick somebody in this audience and I would be able to find out everything about you, including your mother's maiden name. And I also have a way to get on the dark net where I can actually get your social security number. So keep in mind, that stuff's out there. Why? Because unfortunately we put too much information out there. And nothing kills me more than when people are on Facebook and they go, hey, look, I'm in Tahiti this week. Woo! And then somebody's going, hey, I got a house I can rob, because they're not coming home anytime soon, right? Because they're in Tahiti. So again, we got to be careful what people put out in social media. The other way that this scam works is that they'll call on the phone, they'll go, hey, Grandma, is that you? Johnny, what have you just done? You gave him your grandchild's name. And so some people have even told me this. They go, it sounded just like him. Did it sound like him, or did you just hear the name and you go, oh, it's got to be my grandchild? And if you go, well, it doesn't sound like you, yeah, Grandma, I have a little head cold. I'm a little sick. So, again, they will use that. It's still a popular scam. Classified site scams. Okay, here we go. How many of you like to buy stuff online? And look, I do it because I hate the mall at Christmas time, okay? Trying to shop at the mall at Christmas time is ridiculous, all right? Too much traffic. Okay, but the classified site scam, let me give you two situations. How many of you heard of Craigslist? Craigslist. How much does that cost us? Nothing. So I want you to remember this statement. If it's free for you, it's free for the scammer. And the scammers know this. So Craigslist is very infamous for scams. And those of you that have tried to sell something on there know exactly what I'm talking about when you receive that email that says, is this product still available? And then you don't hear anything from them for a while. And then they all of a sudden send this long email, and there's a lot of spelling errors and some other stuff in it. But let me tell you the story about this guy who wanted to purchase a travel trailer. Okay, he wanted to purchase a travel trailer, so he's scouring Craigslist, and he finds one. It's $15,000. So he agrees to buy it. He sees the picture of it, reads the description of it, and goes, this is exactly what I want. So he goes, he sends the money, and he never gets the travel trailer. Never. So keep in mind that I can take a picture of the Suburban in the parking lot, and I can post it on Craigslist, and I can put a bunch of bogus information on it, and I can tell you, please provide your PayPal account, and I can get money from you. Or send a check, or give me your credit card number, etc., etc., etc. You have to do your verification. You have to do your research, because this is what the guy did. He comes into my office and he says, well, Tim, what could I have done? I said, well, let's start with two things. Number one, did he call you over the phone? No. All transmissions were done through text message and email. Red flag, number one. Number two, I go, what phone number was he texting you from? This one. I go, let's plug it into Google. Let's see what happens. Sure enough, scam, 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 scam. And it wasn't just Craigslist. He was scamming people on eBay. He was scamming them on some of those other websites out there. But if he would have done his research with the phone number, he would have found out it was nothing more than a scam. Number two, I said, what's the email address that he emailed you from? Well, it was this one. Let's plug it in. Sure enough, same thing. Scam, 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 scam. That's the information that you can find out by just doing your research. And here's my other point with a travel trailer or buying anything large on Craigslist or one of those websites. If you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't walk through it, you can't meet the owner face to face, you should not be buying it. That's buyer beware. Because in this case, the guy lost $15,000. He's never going to get it back. The other way this scam works is this. And this comes with the educational aspect of what I do. I get so much scam stuff in my office, and I like to bring it so that you guys understand that there are tons of people getting scammed. I mean, this is all scam stuff right here. And how many of you recognize these envelopes right here? Huge. How much do these cost us? They're free, right? So if they're free for us, they're free for the scammer. Remember my statement, right? But so in this particular case, this lady goes and she posts a kitchen table that she's going to sell. Okay? She posted it for $500. She gets contacted only by email by somebody from the state of Texas that says, hey, I want to buy your table. I'm going to send you a check for $1,000. Now keep in mind, she goes, well, wait a minute, it's only for $500. He goes, well, yeah, I want you to keep a little bit for yourself, and then I want you to pay the rest to the delivery company, who's coming from Georgia. Okay, a couple red flags right there, right? So all of a sudden, she receives an envelope like this in the mail. Has the check for $1,000. She goes and deposits the check. She takes a portion of the money and she sends it to some place in Georgia who's the delivery company, right? And then all of a sudden she's contacted by her bank and the bank says, hey, guess what? That check you deposited? No good. No good. So she's out the money that she sent to the delivery company and she was never going to sell her table. So she goes, hey, I got this envelope in the mail. I go, great. Hey, guess what? These envelopes have tracking numbers on them. I go, let's run the tracking number through the United States Post Office website, and we're going to find out where this envelope came from. The envelope came from Hawaii. So let's go over this one more time, right? So she's selling the table to somebody in Texas, the delivery company's in Georgia, and this envelope came from Hawaii. Red flags all over it. But again, it's all because of the research that you do. And keep in mind, here's something interesting too. How many of you love to write checks and put them in the mail? Uh-oh. Okay. I'm just going to mention this. I don't want to change the way you do business, but keep this in mind. Mail theft is at an all-time high. I don't care if you live in an apartment complex. I don't care if you have that mailbox at the street corner, or I'm sorry, on the edge of your driveway, or even those blue boxes on the street corner. They will steal mail out of them. And no, it's not the mailman taking it, right? You put up the red flag on the residential mailbox, and these scammers drive down the street and go, hey, look at that. I'm going to play mailman today. I'm taking their mail, their mail, their mail. Why? Because we send out a lot of personal information in the mail. For example, how easy is it for me to get money out of your checking account if I have your check? Really easy. Really easy. You know why? Because there's only two things that I need on your check. And what are they? Routing number and account number. The routing number identifies the bank that you bank with. The account number says, hey, this is where I got my money. If anybody wants to provide me theirs, I'll take it right now. So the point that I'm talking about is that when people write checks, they put them in the mail and they send them off. These scammers, they go out and they steal your mail. They go to Office Depot, or they have software on their computers at home, and then they print out checks with your account number and your routing number. They can put ABC Corporation on the check. They don't need to know your name, because the bank's not going to catch it. Keep in mind, you don't have somebody at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or Chase looking at every check that comes through there. It's all electronic nowadays. So it runs through. As long as it has the routing number and account number, they're taking money out of your account. The only one that's going to discover this discrepancy is you. You need to be vigilant in checking your checking account all the time. You need to check your credit card statements all the time. You need to put fraud alerts on your checking accounts and credit card accounts. Because don't be like some people out there that just take the statement and go, yeah, I got money, and they throw it in a drawer and they never open the envelope. Because I called a lady one time who, I arrested a suspect who had her check, and it was for $5,000, and I go, hey, did you write this check to this guy? And she goes, oh, let me check. It was 3 months prior, and she never caught it. Now keep in mind, the banks have parameters. You have to do it immediately. That's why I say you've got to check them on a normal basis. Hey, technology's made it easy. Log on to your Chase app, log on to your Bank of America. You can even send checks from there. If you're real sketchy about doing it, have somebody teach you, because I will tell you it is the easiest thing since sliced bread. It is absolutely the easiest thing to do, and you're keeping track of it right there on your computer. Okay? If you still say, hey Tim, you know what, I'm still old school, I want to do it the way I want to do it, nobody's going to change my mind, absolutely fine. But what I will suggest from this point forward is if you have any mail that has confidential information in it, checks, credit card statements, bank statements, whatever, I want you to take it inside the post office and drop it in there. Okay? And don't do it on a Friday night at 5 o'clock. A romance scam. All right, I hear some of you snickering in there. Keep in mind that the romance scam is going full speed ahead and it's not stopping. I had a lady come into the station, $245,000 that she sent to somebody she never met. Now some of you are saying, well, why? They are in love with with the thought of being in love, because these people are so good. I mean, they'll say things like, hey, I like to take long walks on the beach at sunset. I'm a Libra. I like to look at the stars. You're my queen. We're going to live together in happiness. And some people are like, wow, this is great. I've never heard that in my entire life. But they get so lost in this vision about what these people are telling them. But again, we go back to the same point. Do we know who we're talking to? Let's take a look at this one.
John, it's me, Elizabeth. I know we've only talked online, but I think I'm falling in love. I have to meet you in person. I need money, though, to get there from here. $300 should do it.
You wouldn't fall for it here. So don't fall for it here. Think before you send money.
Okay. All right, so just so you guys know, I'm the guy on the right. Never did I look like that. But I just want to tell you, what ends up happening is, you see these two people right here, and they look like, like airbrushed. They look fantastic, right? And so we're looking at that going, wow, I want to talk to this woman or this guy. They look great, right? So we get caught up in the picture, and then we read what their profile says. It says, I'm a fitness fanatic, and you're looking at these two going, that's obvious, right? And they're talking about, looking for a long-lasting relationship, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so again, they say all the right things, and then of course trust and honesty is extremely important to them. That's what they say at the end, right? And you're like, oh, they must be honest. So I'm in love, an honest person. I met one finally. But see, are we really talking to these people, or are we talking to this person? We never know who we're talking to. That's why I want you guys to beware. I'm going to get that off there so those of you that had breakfast don't lose it right now. I don't want to get a cleaning fee. So the thing is with the romance scams is that they play on people's feelings. Remember I told you, emotions are important when they're trying to pull these scams off in relationships and love, especially when you're lonely and you're at home and you're looking for somebody. Hey, great. And now I'm not going to knock this online dating stuff, okay? Because there's plenty of sites out there like Match.com, eHarmony, Plenty of Fish, American Single, and some of you are going, how does he know all those? All right, I did research, okay? That's all I'm going to leave it at. But what better way to meet somebody online? You don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to fix your hair. You could sit there in your pajama bottoms and you could talk to somebody all day long. Okay? But when these people are talking to you and they're asking for money or they're asking for your personal information, or they're asking you to go open a bank account so that they can send you some money so that when he comes or she comes to visit you, that you live happily ever after, some red flags should be pointing up right now. Some red flags should be out there. Some things that you got to be careful with. Number one is that when these people write to you, you will see spelling and grammar errors. They are not English majors, just so you know. Okay? The second thing is they love the word kindly or kindly regards. Now, I'm not saying that anybody in here that uses that is a scammer, but keep in mind, I see that consistently with some of these scam emails, text messages, etc. They use kindly or kindly regards. So watch for those. They do only speak to you via text and email. Now, I did have a couple ladies that said I did receive a call from somebody. But it's normally just text and email that these people try to communicate. So I had a lady who was part of the romance scam. She met a guy through Facebook. Now, Facebook, we know, has privacy settings. We know that we have to accept a friend before we start talking to them. Is that correct? Those of you that have Facebook. So she accepts this guy, and there's no other mutual friends that she has with this person, but he looks good. So she goes, I'm going to start talking to this guy, and he starts saying that he's in the military. That's the big one right now, the military. And he has some gold bars, and he wants to switch them in for some money, and he's going on and on this long laundry list of things, and of course saying all the wonderful things that she wants to hear. So what ends up happening is this lady in Thousand Oaks starts receiving, money in her bank account, right? And we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And so what she's asked by this person she's speaking to is, when you get that money, what I need you to do is I need you to go to Western Union, and I need you to wire it to different locations. So she was wiring this money to England, Rwanda, Nigeria, Great Britain. And I'm thinking to myself, well, when did you figure out that you're mailing it or you're wiring it to different people in different countries instead of to the man who says that he's going to be with you, right? So I get a hold of this case, and I end up going to the lady's home and knock on the door, and to my surprise, she is 67 years old, okay? Now I'm thinking to myself, this lady cannot be doing this to scam people. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why would she be doing it, right? So, and I go to talk to her, and she goes, well, yeah, I met this guy, and he said that these were business clients of his, and I was sending this money for him. And I said, well, what you're doing is criminal. So what he's doing, or what these criminal groups are doing, they're using us in the United States to complete their criminal enterprise. We call them money mules or merchandise mules. They're using us as those to move the money around. So to shorten my story here, I brought her into the station. Not that I was going to arrest her, but I wanted to find out more about this. And I go, do you have any accounts that you opened recently by his request? And she goes, yeah, I just opened a U.S. bank account. And I go, okay, how much money's in there? She goes, oh, $22,000. I go, when did it transfer? Oh, just a couple days ago. I go, what are you supposed to do with it? She goes, I'm supposed to wire it out. And so I put the kibosh on that, and I said, don't touch it, otherwise you're going to jail right now. So I did some research and found out that it was a lady in South Dakota that sent the money to the lady in Thousand Oaks, thinking it was a guy that she met on the internet. She had no idea it was a 67-year-old female. So my point in this is to get you to understand that these scams could include many victims. You are not the only one. It goes from one victim to the next victim to the next victim. And why do they do that? They do it to throw off law enforcement. Because I'm going to call you and go, where did you send the money? Well, I sent it to Kansas. Where did you send the money? Well, I sent it out of the country. So that's why I say, with these particular scams, keep in mind, they keep going. They keep going. And so some people say, well, how come you in law enforcement can't stop these from happening? Why can't you get our money back? Because again, there's many victims. Money's going everywhere. How do we stop you from falling victim? Is education. And by knowing that you have full control over what happens. By just doing research, right? So let's go at work at home scams. Work at home scams are huge right now. Not so much for the older community, but the younger ones, right? They're the millennials. They're going, hey, I don't have to work anymore. I'm going to sit at home. The job's going to come to me. right? You know, they see those signs on the side of the road that says stuff envelopes and earn $2,000 a week. I'm thinking, hey, if I can earn $2,000 a week stuffing envelopes, I'll quit my job today. And I'm going to go sit in my pajamas all day long, right? But those job scams are out there. Some of them are home health care worker, mystery shopper, big one, dog walker, nanny, etc., etc., etc. How do these scams happen? Well, what they do is they send you a check, and they go, this is your advance payment, and I want you to deposit this check. Once this check clears your account, I want you to send a portion because I overpaid you. So I need you to send some of that money back. And that's where they get you on the scam, because your bank goes, hey, that check you deposited is no good. It's somebody's stolen account information. So when they say, when they tell you when that check clears, it's because the person who actually owns the account hasn't discovered the fraud yet. Okay, keep that in mind. It takes time for people to discover that fraud has occurred on their account. So work at home scams, remember, back in the day when I first started applying for jobs, I went in there, I gave my application, I met that person face to face, I did my hiring paperwork. But some people have the false perception that, well, they hired me online, I'm good. Never met them. But I had a guy in Thousand Oaks that did this. He took a job. He put his resume out there on these websites like Monster.com, Indeed.com, and there's some other ones out there. But he gets a response from somebody that says, hey, you want to be a warehouse worker from home? Sure. No problem. So he takes the job, right? So how this met me in my investigation is this. A Secret Service agent's credit card got compromised. And the product got sent to this house in Thousand Oaks. So of course I go and knock on the door and I say, hey, did you, and it was a laptop computer, and I go, hey, did you receive a laptop here? And he goes, oh yeah, I got it, it came, Federal Express dropped it off, I repackaged it, and I sent it off. I go, where'd you send it? He goes, oh, I sent it to this country. I go, okay. I go, what you're doing is illegal, and if you continue, I got a pair of silver bracelets to match. I said, because what you're doing is you're moving merchandise that's been stolen. So these warehouse workers from home, they're receiving these products with your credit cards that have been compromised. They buy the merchandise, they send it to a house, and then from that house, it gets sent out to different locations. Again, we go back to why can't law enforcement stop this? I can't stop it unless you call me immediately and say, somebody just used my credit card and it's getting shipped to this address. Because most people, they don't check their credit card statements for 30 days. Guess how long the scam lasts? 30 days. They will use this guy to be a warehouse worker from home, promise payment, and use him for 30 days, and he never gets paid. He actually uses his own money to send those packages out. Yeah, talk about a scam, huh? So, yeah, he was a little upset with me because he said I was taking his job away from him. But again, I had to explain to him, well, you have choices. And I don't think you like the silver bracelets. Again, this is pretty much what we talked about. So the Microsoft scam, it is rampant as well. And I saw some of you raise your hand when Jackie asked about the Microsoft scam. Right? You're sitting there working on your computer and all of a sudden you click on something and bam, this comes up. Watch what you click on. Don't be too quick to click on certain links or pop-up ads, because this is what happens, right? And so what do they want us to do? Oh, they just want us to call this 855 number, so I'm just going to jump on the phone, I'm going to call them up. And what they want us to do? Oh, just give us your credit card, we're going to go ahead and fix your computer right now. We're going to download software. Sure you are. What you're doing is you're taking all my information, and then you're going to compromise my credit card. And so basically what ends up happening is this mysteriously disappears, because at the same time they're dialing into your computer to access all your information. What do we do when something like this happens? Shut your computer down immediately. Do not provide any personal information. And some people have said, well, hey, Tim, I turned it off, I turned it back on, and it was gone. Okay, great. But if it's not and you have some virus in your computer, you're still looking at compromising your stuff. My advice, take it to a computer professional, say, hey, can you check this out? Or get virus software on your computer. Now somebody might say, well, what kind? I'm not a computer professional in that aspect, so I would suggest asking somebody. Yes, ma'am? Right. 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 And that's why you got to be careful. And I'm going to go through the email stuff in just a moment on kind of things to watch for. But yes, that's how they're getting into our computers. That's how we're getting these, because we're clicking on links that we think are legit and they're not. Okay. The other way this scam works, and I didn't mean to cut you off because I know I got to stay on the time frame, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. The other way is that people have received phone calls by people saying, hey, do you want to speed up your computer? Go ahead and sit down at your computer right now, and I'm going to walk you through some steps, and we're going to speed that up. And really what they're doing is they're dialing in your computer. It's an unsolicited call, and I've gotten them too. They go, oh, you bought a new Microsoft computer, we see. I'm like, how do you know? Microsoft does not call you on the phone. Just keep that in mind. Apple Computer will not call you on the phone. Unless you solicit the call first, they may call you back because you're waiting for a service or a tech. But by all means, if a call comes out of the blue and says, hey, thank you for purchasing your Microsoft computer, we want you to sit down, we're going to speed it up, etc., that should be a clue that it's nothing more than a scam, so keep that in mind. Just so you know, just with the Microsoft scam, 3.3 million people have been fallen for this one in a loss of $1.5 billion. And again, that amount is continually climbing. So, ma'am, this is something that you might be talking about here. This is a fake FBI logo. Now, some of you are going, well, how did they do that? That's against the law. Yes, it is. But it's easy. On your computer, you copy or cut and paste a logo, and you make a fake web page. So that's why I say you got to be careful in what you're doing on the internet. And so some of you, I've had people leave these seminars and they go, oh my goodness, I'm afraid to do anything. I don't even want to look in the rearview mirror. See who's watching me, right? Somebody's watching me, just like that song, right? So keep in mind, the fake websites are out there. Also apps. How many of you have those smartphones, and when they're not working, they're dumb phones? Because we're mad at them, right? Watch out for those apps. The apps that you download, you really got to read what they're asking for access to. So I went to the seminar one time, and a guy has an Android phone, the Samsung software, right? Samsung phone Android software. And he goes, and nothing against that phone or that company, but I just want you to understand one thing, is he goes, watch this, I'm going to download the flashlight, the app for the flashlight, right? So he downloads it, and then when he gets to the point where it's ready to go on the thing, it says it wants access to his photos and his contacts. And you got to be thinking, well, why does the flashlight want access to these items, right? So that's why you got to be careful. Really look at those things and what you're giving access to. And also remember that your phone has a geo thing on it, so you need to make sure that it's not picking up all of your locations. And somebody can, I don't have the time to walk you through that step of it, but if you know somebody that's good with the phone, you might want to make sure that you check your privacy settings on your phones. Rental scams are out there. Please keep in mind, if you see a home in an exclusive area like Beverly Hills for $900 a month for a 5,000 square foot home, it sounds like a great deal, right? But it also sounds like a scam. So how do these scams work? Well, they steal a photograph of a house. I could drive down the street, take a picture of a house, post it, put all this fake information, all my contact stuff, and you send me the check, and you think that you're renting a home, and somebody says, hey, I've lived here for 23 years, I'm not leaving, right? I had a lady that rented a place up in Big Bear, and she did that. She paid $1,500 to stay in a vacation home, well, what she thought was a vacation home. She goes all the way up there, and the owner of the home says, hey, this house isn't for rent. but it was on a website. So if you're looking for rental homes, make sure you use reputable companies, real estate firms, etc. Don't just go onto Craigslist and look for a rental, because remember, if it's free for you, it's free for them. Here's one that I actually received, and I laugh because I have a rental place up in Bullhead City there. And I use the website VRBO, and that's Vacation Rentals by Owner, okay, just so those of you that know what the term stands for. And so I received this, and I thought it was funny, and I thought I would put it into this PowerPoint so that you understand when I said that grammar and spelling and stuff like that is important to look for when you receive emails. This one says this: "I'm very sorry for the delay to reply your message." I'm like, what in the world? And so then I go through here, and I read more, and it says that they want to send me a check. Well, those of you that are familiar with VRBO, it's all done. They don't send you a check directly to you, but it's asking for my name, my address, my name, my address, and then the amount, etc., because they're going to send me a check. And I like what it says at the end. It says, "Hope to read from you soon," like on some novel or something, a book, right? So again, you have to look at some of that stuff. It's very important when you get emails or text messages, you read them. Here's you know what, let's see, how are we doing on time? Are we doing good on time, or are we getting close? 2 more minutes? Oh, I gotta talk quick. Okay, lottery scam. Remember, with the lottery scam, if you didn't play the lottery, you're not gonna win the lottery. It's that simple. If you haven't been to Nigeria, you're not winning the Nigerian lottery. Now, I'm just gonna tell you that up front, right? A lot of people go, well, hey, somebody said I won the Nigerian lottery. I go, when were you there? Never? You're not gonna win it. Remember, foreign lotteries are illegal to play, number 1, okay? And number 2, if you're going to play the lottery, if they ask you to pay money up front, that's a scam. Remember, if you won the lottery, don't you worry. The IRS will get their money from you. They won't tax it, and you'll get that $10.99 at the end of the year, okay? But never pay a fee up front for any type of winnings. Here's our Nigerian prince. Those of you that were looking for a date, here he is, 67 years old, and he's a prince. No, he's not. He's actually a money mule, but in his case, he did not stop his illegal activity. That's why he got arrested. He was actually suspected of being the middleman in sending money to Nigeria after it's been scammed from people in the United States. That's why his picture's there, and that's why he got arrested by federal authorities. Foreign lotteries, again, please be careful, especially those of you that get text messages. This one says that last chance to collect $1 million from the UK mobile lottery. Just in case you know, it doesn't exist. In-person lottery scams, watch out for those. They approach you in public and they say, hey, I need some collateral. I have the winning ticket. I'm illegal here in the United States. Please, give me some collateral and I'm going to give you the winning ticket. 2 ladies in Camarillo, $10,000 a piece. They lost money. Jackie mentioned this, the car repair scam. I think she just mentioned it briefly, that if there's something wrong with your car, make sure you take it to a professional, not your roadside mechanic that stops you on the side of the road and says, hey, let me fix your car, or something like that. Prize offers, keep in mind that nothing in life is free, especially tickets to Disneyland. It will cost you 2 arms and 2 legs to get in there. And if you want to eat there, you have to refinance your home. So the prize offers, believe me, they're out there and they try to get to you. Charity scams, the Thomas Fire. That was a big thing right out here, right? People were getting calls saying, hey, do you want to donate money to the Thomas Fire victims? Do we know who these people are? Do your research with charities. Go to the Better Business Bureau. Look them up online to make sure they're legit. You don't want to give money to somebody that doesn't deserve it. Some people may be asking, what about the law enforcement ones? The canines, the Police Foundation League. Here's my advice on that. If somebody calls you over the phone and asks you for your credit card number, asks for a check, don't do it. If you feel like you want to donate to one of those places, you bring it to them directly. Bring it to them directly, okay? We'll skip that, travel scams. Email compromise, and do I have just a few minutes to go through this? Okay, so email compromise, this is the biggest one right now. Please check emails that come in for you. You need to go through it line by line. Here's an example. Oh, you can't see it. So this one came from Chase Bank, right? Some guy receives this email that says, hey, your card has been account has been locked. Just re-enter your username and your password, right? Well, it looks legit. It says new message from Chase Bank at the top, but when you look at who it's from somebody at chasemorgan14@outlook.com. Now keep in mind that companies like Chase, Bank of America, they have domain names. It's chase.com, bankofamerica.com, americanexpress.com. Those are what we call domain names. But outlook.com, yes, it is an email thing, but it's not for Chase Bank. Here's another one from American Express. You go up to where it's from. The email's from American Express. It looks like it's legit, but it's from you@ugo.com, not amx.com or americanexpress.com. So make sure you check. And then this is where they're trying to get you to click on the links, and I'm sorry that these pictures are so washed out right here. We had to do some messing with the screen, and so I think it did this. But I got this one. It said something from Federal Express, right? Legit logo says, hey, click on this link to print up a package, because I get a lot of CDs and stuff from loss investigators, and so I look at the surveillance videos. Well, I thought this was something coming from me, but I read it, and I looked at who it was from, and it was coming from somebody at Comcast.com, not FederalExpress.com. So you gotta look for those. Please make sure, and this is where if you would have clicked on this link, you would have got that thing that locks up your computer, and they tell you to call a phone number. Emails, please be careful with those. Here's a text message. Let me get to text messages real quick. If you receive a random text message, like this one comes from Bank of America, they want you to click on this link because your card has been stopped. Don't click on the link because there's something wrong with this. If you look at Bank of America, what's wrong? It's a 0 or a capital O, right? Or if we go to the Wells Fargo text message, it was so important that they misspelled important, okay? So you gotta look for those. Here's one, and I just want to show you what happens when you do click on a text message, especially this one from Chase Bank, right? So that's number 1, 2, and 3. What happens is the person who showed me this clicked on the link. It took them to this page. It looks 100% official from Chase Bank. And then it clicks over to here, and it's asking for their card number, okay, their expiration date, and their 3-digit security number on the back. With those 3 items, believe me, I could take money from you. So again, do your research. You can't see it on here. There's that research, that bar on Google.com. If you go and put in the phone number, okay, like I did with the IRS thing, it said scam, scam, scam. It comes up once on screens like this. It will come up scam, 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 just by plugging it in the address bar at the top. Here's some more, and I know you can't see it, but it says more about that phone number that you heard from that computer, the scam. So what happens when scams happen to you? Please make sure you report to your local law enforcement agency, especially if you're out money. There's websites that I want you to look at too. The Federal Trade Commission, the information that's on that back table right there, you'll see a website called ftc.gov. That is the Federal Trade Commission. It talks about all the different scams that are currently going on. Medicare cards, make sure you guys understand that with the Medicare cards that they're coming, your Social Security number will no longer be on the fronts of them. I don't know why it took them this long to do it, but they finally did. They took them off. Okay, so I got to stop here, but what I want you to do is take down my phone number right here or my email address, whatever's more convenient for you, and if you can't see it, I'll leave it up on the screen so when we're done, you can come up and look at it. Please call me. Please email me. If you find something just does not sound right, give me a call. I won't charge you for it, I promise. Okay? The other thing is that fraud hotline phone number up there. It is a 24-hour recorded message that plays. If you want to leave a message on it, you're more than welcome to. We'll talk about some of the things that we spoke about today and what kind of things to look for, okay? But if you're reporting a crime, make sure you call your local police agency, okay, and do it through them. Okay, but if you have any questions in the meantime, you're more than welcome to call me. With that, I'm going to turn it back to Jackie. Thank you so much.
We just wanted to make sure that we finished a few minutes early so you would be able to privately ask Tim questions. What I would suggest, everybody wants these phone numbers, what I would suggest is that you bring your phone up here and just take a picture of it, or you can get Detective Loman's information after. Really quick, I want to thank my staff, Ryan and Andrew, for setting this all up. Can we give them a round of applause? And we also have some celebrities here, Orvine and Georgia Carpenter, and you have any questions about other workshops that we're doing, or just questions about state departments that you have problems with, we have the Let's Talk brochure up on the desk. Also, if you happen to have grandchildren in this area, we have a K-12 resource fair that is going to be coming up in August. There's a brochure for that too. And then I'm always the cybersecurity queen, so I want to make sure that you saw the two handouts, cybersecurity tips for your phone. So when Detective Lohman was talking about things about like your privacy settings, there is a handout in the back about your privacy settings. And finally, how many of you have locked up your social security number at the 3 credit reporting agencies? Has anybody done that yet? Okay, with the big Equifax scam, there were a lot of social security numbers stolen. And so what is being recommended right now is to go online to the 3 social security reporting agencies and lock up your social security so nobody can open credit in your name without your knowledge. And again, there's information on the back table about that. I know there was an awful lot of information. Detective Lohman knows a lot, but I think that his final slide, the slide right before this, really summed it up. Just think when anything questionable comes up. If it sounds too good to be true, it is probably too good to be true. So again, we are so grateful for Detective Lohman. Can we give him one more big round of applause? And for those of you that have questions, I'll talk to you about that privately. That's a very good. Locking up your social security number is the most effective way, but you can also use it. You can also use something like LifeLock, which monitors your social security. Yes.
I have a question because, I have to work all down to Glendale. I know you have what is it, a tax bill. We here in California, we're paying $35 for that.
Okay, why don't you talk, we can talk about that after. So I want to let everybody be able to go and have discussions with Detective Lohman, and like I said, take a picture on the screen to make sure you have all the important numbers. And thank you very much for